to my channel. Yes, I am sitting in front of my sofa because I can now put my camera on the coffee table and it's actually fairly comfy. So, and it's a decent backdrop because there's nothing on the wall yet, but I am working on that. Anyway, as usual, I'm rambling. I am filming a Q&A today, which is very exciting. It's the first time I've filmed a Q&A. I've done Insta Q&As before, but that's not quite the same. So I asked you guys on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and on YouTube to send me some questions for this. I only asked you this morning, so I wouldn't imagine there are many questions, but it's good. I don't want it to be too long, but I thought it's just it's a very easy thing to film, especially now that we're in coronavirus lockdown. So yeah, I think I'll start by doing it based on apps rather than like topics. There are different topics, so there are a couple people who asked about like horsey things, there are a couple like obviously the Spurs ones, and then there are a couple non-Spurs ones as well. So I'll start with the questions on YouTube because I had a quick sneak and there didn't seem to be many. What other team do you enjoy watching? I mean, if you know anything about me, then you know I'm also a Barcelona fan. I've got a soft spot for Barcelona, although I must say this season I haven't followed them as closely as in previous seasons. I think this season was just tough to follow football in general because I think I fell out of love a little bit because of lots of reasons, but yeah, Barcelona, I have a massive soft spot for them. I have a couple kits. I've been to their stadium, went on a stadium tour. Oh, it was beautiful, and I've been to the city, obviously, and yeah, they just hold a massive place in my heart. I started supporting them when they played against Arsenal a couple times in Champions League and absolutely thrashed them, so obviously it's a good start, and I just started supporting them since really, and they never stole our players, unlike Real Madrid. So yeah, that's Barcelona. What are your thoughts on Americans? I'm assuming there's an R in there somewhere. Americans, I have nothing against them. I've been to America a couple times. I always find that, maybe it's just because it's like the touristy spots, or they know that you're obviously not American, but I always find that they're very, very bubbly and very out there personalities. Very happy, very smiley and very energetic. Obviously not everyone's like that. You can have that everywhere and around the world. Not all Americans are like that, but it's a very different culture, and it's the sort of thing that I enjoy on a holiday, but I could never live there. It's just not my cup of tea. So yeah, I have nothing against Americans. Every nation has their lovely and not so lovely people. How old were you when you started riding? I was 9 years old when I started riding. I started riding just going on hacks, and then my mum was like, okay, that's cool that you like horses, but you're gonna need to go to a riding school and learn properly. So yeah, a bit later than most people, but I did a lot of other sports as well, so I only caught the horse bike a little bit later, and I just totally skipped out on ponies. I did not like ponies anyway, so yeah, I started when I was 9 and not stopped since. How old are you? I am in my mid-20s. So those are all the questions on YouTube. Let's go over to Twitter. Best away game in England and in Europe, why? For England, Fulham. I absolutely loved going to Fulham. We went there for an FA Cup round a couple seasons ago now, and Craven Cottage is just the cutest little place ever. I loved it. It was so much fun. Fun fact, the outro was sung at Craven Cottage in the away section, so that was absolutely brilliant. I love that away day, that was great. I haven't done many away days, to be honest. There's a question about away days coming up, so I'll answer that then, why. But that was my favourite one. And Europe, I've only ever been to Madrid for a European match, so yeah, I mean, I don't think that counts as an away day because we played against Liverpool. But yeah, so sadly, not had many exposures to away days, but I'll cover that later. Would you sell Kane and rebuild the squad, but keep players like Son and Giovanni Lo Celso? Ooh, not really sure, to be honest. I mean, you know, the team is only as good as their individuals, and even the weakest link really. I think Kane's just irreplaceable, but I think also Dembele was irreplaceable. We haven't really replaced him yet. There are loads of players that, you know, you've got to build squads around, and I think if we want to take competition seriously and think about, you know, the club reaching the highs of the highs, then we have to keep the likes of Kane and build teams around them. So no, I wouldn't necessarily sell Kane for rebuilding the squad, but if that was the only way to rebuild the squad, if we didn't pull a Bale where we've signed 7 players and hardly only 2 of them work out, sort of, if we actually signed players who managed to stay, they were all proper first 11 players, then if you look at it from a business point of view, then yeah, obviously Kane is just through and through Tottenham, and it'd be very hard to part with him. Do you think Spurs will win a trophy? And then someone commented, a timescale would be useful, because that's actually really true. Do I think Spurs will win a trophy? Yes, at some point in someone's lifetime. I don't know. That's the thing though, when we had our brilliant era with Pochettino, I know that everyone kept, well, not half of the people kept banging on about the fact that we need the trophy, and some people kept saying that, like, and I'm in that camp as well, that I actually just enjoyed the game for what it was, because before Pochettino I didn't really enjoy much of the style of football we played, and under Poch I genuinely enjoyed going week in, week out, and that's what I miss now as well, really, is it's all well and good that if we aim for a trophy, and you know, we got that under One Day Ramos, but no one remembers the style of play we played that season. You know, while our last season at the Lane, everyone's going to remember how unbeaten we were. So it's a toss-up. Obviously the ideal situation would be winning a trophy and playing beautiful football all the time, but for me, a trophy, if it comes, I don't know, pure luck, great, it's one great day out, but I'd much rather enjoy every day when I need to go, like, week in, week out, seeing Spurs play, because that's just a lot more valuable in my opinion. But I'm the sort of person who wants to enjoy the journey, not just the destination. So, but not everyone's like that. Hey Anna, hope you're keeping well. I hope you're keeping well too. Who's the best Spurs player you've seen live and why? My favourite player is Ledley King. I think he was absolutely amazing, and probably subconsciously made me the kind of defender I am. I'm not really a defender. If I ever played football, then defence was my favourite position, and centre-back turned out to be my role. And maybe I took that from him subconsciously, as I said, because I never played while he was playing. I only played a little bit during my master's degree and afterwards. But I just found he was just something else. I think what also drew me to him was the fact that he was only ever at Tottenham, and when I was growing up, I know that sounded so unheard of. Obviously, like a couple decades ago, that was not crazy that one player would stay at one team, but in the modern day football, if you have one player staying at one team since academy, is very, very rare. And having players like that, like him and Harry, for example, is just, both Harrys, was just absolutely mind-blowing to me, and it just made me feel very loyal, and I really enjoy that. So I think it was a dual thing with Ledley. And Messi, though, I did see Messi play against us, and he is my favourite foreign player, or favourite non-Tottenham player. For me, there's never been a contest between Messi and Ronaldo, and there will be so many comments about this if anyone even gets to this part of the video. But for me, Messi was just, especially when he played against us, oh my goodness, he was just, it was absolutely amazing that day. And yeah, he is something else. So be able to watch that. I mean, Bale was amazing for us. I remember that famous Inter Milan game was incredible, and the taxi form icon I'll never forget. So Bale was great. Modric at his prime. I even really enjoyed Van der Vaart. So, you know, there are loads of players I really enjoyed, but I think, you know, my favourite Spurs player would have to be Ledley, and Messi for like foreign players, 100%. I spoke so much, my phone closed itself. Anyway, who do you think should be added and who should be sold or let go for next season? So I alluded to the fact that we obviously haven't really replaced Mr. Dembele. I think that's a very clear shout for anyone who even has like the smallest idea of who to bring in. We need a defensive midfield player. I mean, we've seen that from this season. We've got tons of attacking midfielders, so we don't need any more of those. We don't have a replace for Harry Kane, so a striker who's willing to be a somewhat replacement / play in other competitions sort of player, because it looks like Harry just has an injury in him every season. So that's a striker, probably a decent goalkeeper. I love Hugo Lloris. I think we're very lucky to have him, but he's not getting any younger. And when he was out injured, Gaza was good for a one-off, but consistently he started to make too many mistakes. So I would like to see a very, very classy keeper come in. And obviously I think our whole defence needs to rebuild, but that's not going to happen overnight. Who to let go? Well, anyone who's on the payroll is not really pulling their weight, really. So, and Dombele, by the looks of it, which is insane that we just signed him, record signing, and he just can't be bothered, can he? But I guess that's football. Hey Anna, I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying safe too. I wanted to know, if you could create your own football team, what would you name it and why? It's a very interesting question. I've never actually given thought to that. I don't know how... What would I name it? I don't know. I was just thinking, I don't know if I would name it after like Titan, for example. So maybe something Titan related, or Titanium, or Titans, maybe something like that. And that would also obviously stick with the T for Tottenham, or something totally unrelated. I'm not sure. I don't think I have any names that really like are really strong to my heart or really special to me. But I think, yeah, it'd be probably something about Tottenham, Titan, and yeah, I wouldn't call it like an athletic club or something. It would definitely be football club. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. It would be 2-syllabled again, so T something FC. I don't think it would be H, because it would be really weird to try and do a THFC again, but or maybe something Titans FC, something like that. Yeah. Are you single? Yes, I am, and I'm very, very happy staying single, so don't you worry about that. Right, no more questions since then, so let me see if anyone replied. No. Okay, so that's Twitter done and YouTube done, so let's go to Facebook. I think those will be primarily football ones. Hi Anna, I hope you're safe and well. Do you think after Harry's interview he will stay? I think it's a kick up the backside for Jose and Levy to strengthen the squad, or as I think 18 months down the line he'll be off. Your thoughts? I must be honest, I haven't seen the interview. I've not really kept up to speed with football stuff, to be honest, for various reasons. But based on that, it sounds like, you know, he's a bit disappointed with how things are going, and I can't say I blame him. You know, I alluded to that earlier. He's a fantastic talent, and having him in the squad is amazing, and we really should be building a team around him. And if we can't make him happy, then you know, he at the end of the day has to think of his career. He's in his mid-20s now as well, so he's not getting any younger, and loyalty sadly can only take you so far in the game. I mean, ideally I'd want him to stay with us forever, but that, you know, if he has bigger ambitions, and I don't see a reason why he couldn't be, then he should go. I do think he needs to bear in mind though, he wouldn't obviously be as highly regarded anywhere else as he would be at Tottenham. He's obviously still an England captain, plays a lot of games for England, and wherever he would go he'd still play in Europe, so the amount of games wouldn't change, and you know, it would be hard for him to cope physically with that kind of situation as well, just as it is hard at Tottenham. So I don't know. I think, you know, right now it's really hard to make any harsh decisions because we're in such a weird situation. You know, you would have asked me this question a month ago and we would have had a very different chat. I mean, lockdown really only started a couple of weeks ago, and it's very hard. I think no one's making any rash decisions in those sense, at least not footballers. So I don't know what's going to happen 18 months down the line. We don't even know what's happening with this season, let alone next season. So it's all up in the air. Hi Anna, would you finish this season come what may, or would you write it off and try to complete next season fully instead if possible? So yeah, that's good. Actually really good that question came in, because I was about to talk about that. I personally would just avoid this season. I think there's too much of an unknown factor of when we could start or resume. I also don't think it'd be fair to try to play in the heat of summer, but I don't, it depends on when we could start playing. You know, it looks like we're not playing for definitely May, I'd say, June the earliest, but honestly having football back would be just, it's not the highest priority. So I personally would just avoid this season and aim to start in August, but maybe even September. Maybe scratch like the League Cup, keep the FA Cup because the FA Cup is special, and ideally have no Europe for everyone, because obviously we didn't finish this year's competition, and next year everyone, like the whole of Europe would be out of European competitions, and it would allow everyone to start a bit later, maybe finish earlier, any, like sort that out, not put too much stress on having to travel and meet up and, you know, spread it, everyone just kept in their domestic leagues. That would be my ideal situation. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen that way, and I really would doubt that UEFA would want to have a season where there's no Champions League football or Europa League football. So but that's how I would want to do it, and I think that would be the most sensible thing, but I don't see it happening. It's just, there's just too much money in football nowadays for that to happen. Let me pause this for a bit. Which Spurs woman player has impressed you the most? Anyone who knows or watches any of my Spurs women related vlogs or content would know that my absolute favourite player is Ashley Neville. I love her pacey attitude on the wide. It's the sort of that's what I loved about Lennon, for example, when we had him, when Rose was pacey, and Walker, and I don't know why, there's something really attractive about a pacey winger or a fullback, and she's absolutely brilliant at that. She also puts in brilliant crosses, she's got a good finish on her, she's strong, and she puts in great tackles, well-timed tackles as well. So she just ticks every box for me in that, like, you know, she's not the flashiest of players in that sense, you know, she's no, like for me, Bianca Baptiste was super flashy, but for like Ashley Neville's just amazing. And there are plenty of our current new players who joined this season who are all very, very exciting, but I'll always have a soft spot for Ash, I think. Who or what made you support Spurs? I'm a third generation Spurs supporter, so my father and my grandfather were both Spurs fans, and I just grew up supporting them from the day I came out of my mum's womb, to put it nicely. So that's really it. There's no crazy story to it. It's not like I went to a game, I was like, oh my god, I love it. It just came along, and you know, started watching games at home in front of the telly, and then my dad started telling me about it, and then I went to my first game. It was a 1-1 draw against Liverpool at the Lane in the 2004-05 season, and I just loved the atmosphere. And going back, you know, when I was younger, I can't say that I fully understood every aspect of football, especially because I didn't play the game. I only ever just watched it, but I loved going to the Lane. That was my favorite thing, the atmosphere, the connection, especially with like just random people, but then they weren't that random. Like the friendships you can form through football is insane. Some of my closest friends I only know because of football, and I only know because my dad knew people through there, and then now we're like super tight. Shout out Megan. Or like, it's just insane, and you know, this whole community we've got going on is because of football as well. So I think that's what drew me to it, and you know, Spurs through and through. I like the idea of the lily white kit. It just feels very pure. I like the ethos we had around it. I like the vibe of everything, that we want to do things the right way, the proper way. We're not dirty, we like to play in style and with flourish, just to paraphrase someone. So I think that's what kept me sticking around with it. I think Tottenham really shaped who I am today. I would be a very different person if I'd be supporting someone else, but I'm not, so let's not go down that road. If there was no Tottenham, who would you support instead? As in England? I'm not sure really. I guess Southampton would be my second team. It'd be very weird. Yeah, I guess Saints would be, I mean, as I said, Barca's my favourite team Europe-wise, so they'd probably be my team, but I don't live in Barcelona, nor do I have any plans on moving there or anything like that. And I couldn't choose any other London team. Oh, Fulham. I might choose Fulham just because they're really cute and local. Well, they're not local. Why am I saying that? They're so not local. They're just cute, and they're also white. So probably if it was a London team, I would have chose, if I had to choose right now, I'd choose Fulham. Just as I alluded to the fact that Craven Cottage is super cute. So that would probably be it. I obviously couldn't choose any of the other ones. And then outside of London, maybe Saints, but then the red would really hurt me because I just never read, like, no. So that, but I do like Saints' style. I think, you know, it's very similar to Tottenham's in that sense. You know, the academy is very important, academy is very important. Why did I say it like that? The academy is very important, and the style of play is similar, so I couldn't choose like a Stoke, for example. And none of the northern clubs really resonate with me, so I guess, yeah, Fulham, and then maybe Saints. Do you miss the women's or men's matches more? I think based on this season, I miss the women's matches more. I think it's safe to say that the men's matches were not that enjoyable this season, at least. No, I'm sorry. Like maybe a couple games, but overall, I was so impressed with the women's season. I mean, obviously, first season in the top flight football, and we just, we held our own, and we can hold our heads up really high. I just love the style of play. It was fascinating, it was very exciting. It was such a good team effort about it. I love going to the games. I love the feeling of meeting all the friends. It's just such a different vibe, and everything was always so happy and positive. Even when we lost, like, I know when we just absolutely got battered against City, I still enjoyed it so much more than a 1-1 draw against like Watford, for example. So yeah, I think that's what I do miss, that a lot. And from the men's game, I miss what we had at the Pochettino, that feeling, and we didn't have that this season. I miss going to White Hart Lane, because that stadium was insane, and I miss going there. I don't miss wasting 90 minutes, because let's face it, that was just not working out for us. So if anything, this whole coronavirus situation might have been a blessing in disguise, if you can take any positives out of it, and in every situation you try to do the best. Then you have to see that this is a good opportunity for Harry and Sonny to come back, and the others to train, but not overtrain, and not get overtired, but rest up a bit. And you know, the whole league is going to be in the same position, so whenever it resumes, you know, no one's going to be match fit. So yeah, hopefully that will work out for the men's team better, and the women's team is what it is. But yeah, I think, Marcus, if I had to answer that, it'd be probably the women's edging it out, just based on past season. But they're very different games. Past season, I mean, we're still technically in the season, but you know, they're very different atmospheres, they're very different games, and very different style of matches and match days, so I can't really compare them in that way. What areas do you need to strengthen the squad in summer transfer window? I think I covered that in the previous question, but yeah, ideally another striker, a defensive midfielder please, or two, and then defence and goalkeeper. I mean, to be fair, I think Jose's got his job cut out, and with the current situation, I don't know if you know, it must be hard. I don't know if he's even tried to talk to anyone, because you know, I don't know who would want to move at this point. It's a mess, but there's a big rebuild. I mean, Pochettino said it years ago that there's a massive rebuild that needs to happen, a painful rebuild even, and nothing happened about it. And now we're here, and we do need it, because we have an aging team. You know, no one's getting younger, and we haven't replaced, and we haven't brought in fresh blood. So yeah, that was it on Facebook, and that means I'm moving on to Instagram, and that's going to be the last one. So, Insta questions. How long have you been looking after your horse? I have owned Titan for over 9 years now, so yeah, that's as long as I've been looking after him. Well, he's been on my name. When I was at uni, I had friends looking after him. But yeah, we've been together for 9 years, which is brilliant. How is my horse? How's your horse? How have you been able to see him? Yes, I have. Thankfully, I am very fortunate that the place I'm keeping him at, they allow us to visit. It's limited time, so it's not as much as time as I would ideally want to spend with him, but honestly, I'm just grateful to be able to spend any amount of time with him. I'm not going every day, unlike I used to, because with the current lockdown situation in the UK, where you are only really allowed out to go shopping, one form of exercise and stuff like that, I try to limit the amount of times I go out. And I'm still working during the week, working from home, so some days I just leave that going out to do some grocery shopping, and then other days I go and visit Titan. So I think, you know, some people say you could go out twice, once for shopping and one for exercise, but I just try to limit to the least amount of exposure as I can. So no, I do get to see him. Going back to the question, I do get to see him, and it's absolutely amazing, because even just spending an hour with him and just being around him makes you forget about your everyday life. And I think that's so important, especially now. Like, it was really important during your normal day-to-day lives just to get away from everything and to focus on an animal and a creature. I mean, any of you who own dogs or cats or any other pets would know how brilliant it is to have those creatures in our lives, but especially under these circumstances, I am so grateful to have him and be able to spend time with him. I'm not riding him that much. I'm more just being around him and lunging him, but even just that is amazing. So I know this is my Tottenham channel, so sorry if I keep going on about that. Why don't you start going to away games? So it's not a question of why don't I start, it's more that I can't because I do not have enough loyalty points. And the way it works with Tottenham, if you didn't know, is that if you have a season ticket, then you've got a certain amount of loyalty points based on which games you've attended, and you can rack up points on that. And I used to have a lot more, and I was able to go when I was starting uni, so that's like a Fulham game, and I went to a lot more games then. But recently I've not had the chance to be able to go to games. I've applied to away games, but haven't really had the chance to. It's also hard because home games are easy because I live in North London, and obviously Tottenham's also based in North London, so I can go to the games. But away days on weekends, it's just difficult because if I work the whole week, then I want to be able to relax a bit on the weekend. Otherwise I just absolutely exhaust myself, and riding is my main passion, so I want to be able to dedicate time to that as well. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't juggle a couple of away days, like Madrid for example. It was absolutely fascinating and I would never say no to that, and you know, another European away day or something like that would be brilliant. But it's just hard to juggle it with work and everything. So, and as I said, loyalty points really, if I had the opportunities, I think it would be a whole other situation. But yeah, that's the main reason. It's just I can't actually technically go to games. Favorite DJ? Well, I don't know, does Avicii count as a DJ? I mean, I know he's dead, but he was like my favorite house-ish, DJ-ish type of music. The DJ they have at the Tottenham Stadium is actually quite cool at times. It's rather interesting, let's put it that way. So on Insta I said, ask me anything, and someone replied, anything? Yes, anything. That was the whole point, but clearly, I mean, you did literally just ask anything. How are you? I'm very well, thank you. I'm doing all right. I think I was just talking to my parents about this. I think it's very important that you create a schedule during this lockdown situation, and you plan little tasks to do daily, or you plan your meals accordingly, your shopping, your cooking time, and any other activities. Your exercise is very important to keep up that routine as well. So I'm trying to stay sane and everything. I live alone, so I don't have much exposure to people, which is obviously healthy in this current situation, but it also means that I spend a lot more time talking to friends and family, which is also very important. So stay safe, stay isolated, but overall I'm all right. It's interesting, I think I've kind of lived like a fairly isolated lifestyle as it was. I wasn't exactly the social butterfly. I don't like going out to like clubs and parties and stuff. I'm much more of a home person anyway. I don't exactly have like a massive group of friends. I have a couple select very, very close friends. So this self-distancing or social distancing and isolation isn't the worst thing for me. But it's obviously going to take a toll on me too. It's just mainly the fact that I can't go and see Tyson every day, do riding exercises there, and keep as busy as I do when I'm around him. But I've got like loads of other things sorted out in my flat. I've been decorating, I've been building cabinets, so it's a lot of things that I wanted to get done anyway, and this has been a perfect opportunity for that. So I'm just trying to make the most of the current situation. How much are you missing football? Not very much, if I'm honest. I alluded to it before. I don't think, well, the women's games, yes, I'm missing, but the men's games, not so much. I don't think we played well at all. And I think, as I said earlier, this is a good opportunity for them to like get a break and refresh, and hopefully whenever we return to whichever season, then it will be a lot more entertaining or a lot more focused and balanced and stuff. I have no idea, but right now it's not my top priority. I miss the occasion, I miss being able to go to the stadium, I miss seeing the friends I usually see there, that part of it, the social aspect of it, but I don't really miss the football aspect of it. There's plenty of other things to watch. I don't know why, it's just, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love football, and you know how passionate I get, but I think it's just because I know it's not going to happen. So no, I don't miss it really. Favourite Spurs moment? I mean, I went to the cup final against Chelsea, the League Cup, Carling Cup final. That was pretty special because at the time obviously Chelsea were a lot stronger than us, so I never thought we could actually beat them, and the fact that we did beat them and we won the cup and we lifted a trophy and we were in a final, and that was my first time at Wembley. It's absolutely amazing, so I really enjoyed that. I mentioned the Inter game. That was something very special. I think our first game at the new stadium, the last game at Old White Hart Lane, that was really emotional, if anything. I think I really enjoyed Madrid, not necessarily the game, but the occasion was brilliant. So having that opportunity, I have like a couple Arsenal games. I have like a list somewhere where I could go through that. I might just make a separate video on that. It'd probably be easier than including it in here. But yeah, I've got quite a few fond memories. Greatest ever Spurs player you've seen growing up? I think I mentioned that. Ledley King for me personally. He's the king of White Hart Lane, put it nicely. I think that's it. Someone sent just a blank message. That's rather weird. So let me just quickly refresh on all the social medias before I close this. Oh my god. Yes, I'm not answering the questions which are very personal because you guys are just a bit rude, quite frankly. But no, I'm single and I'm not looking for anyone, so just pipe down. I'm very, very, very happy single. And also I don't want a football friend. I don't want a football boyfriend. So I'm very, very happy having football friends, but not a football boyfriend. I've made my mind up about that. I don't want that at all. How fast does your horse go? I just saw that on Twitter. He can go very fast. He's part thoroughbred, so he has that in there, but he's a bit older now, so I've never actually measured it, but he can go fairly fast. So we haven't been able to test that out because it's been very muddy, first of all, and then now that it's dried up, we're just not really going out into the woods, so it's not really fun, but it is what it is. So so that's on Twitter. I've checked Instagram. Let me check Facebook again quickly, and then YouTube, although I don't imagine anyone have asked anything there. It looks like this is all updated. There's no new questions here. Turned out to be quite a long video. I'm quite proud of the little community. I didn't know how long it would be realistically. I mean, I might do another one of these at some point, not necessarily now in lockdown because there's only so many questions you can answer. Unless you tell me all in the comments that you want another one, then let me know. But cool, no more questions. So that was it. That wraps it up. It was quite a nice variety of questions, I must say. I thought it'd be a lot worse, to be honest, because previously when I've done this I just got a lot of like, do you have a boyfriend you can hit on, and I don't like that, and I'm not that kind of person who likes to openly talk about these things. So but no, it was good. It was a varied selection of football, non-football, and everything else. So yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what else you'd like to see from me in the future. If you have any questions, I could answer some in the comments down below as well. And stay safe, stay home, protect your local health service, and I will see you in my next video. Come on, you Spurs.